So hello, everyone. I hope that you're all having an amazing day. As people come into this space, I wanted to open up this field to share with you an inside look at the new 13th dimension, which is the intergalactic mystery school that now has 3 paths of entering into as of last week. So if you have not heard me share about the 13th dimension previously, this is a great opportunity to really get a look inside of it, because I am going to screen share here. I am going to share with you like really what is happening, what the curriculum looks like, and breaking down these new 3 paths that are now available. And what happened is basically, we had a very successful mystery school with 13D in 2022, and I opened it up, launched it again at the beginning of January, and had 11 people sign up. And even though 11 people signed up, I just kept hearing the constellation is out of alignment. The constellation is out of alignment. The constellation is off. So I stopped really sharing for a moment to get very quiet and still around why that was the case. And what has really come through is that there was a next stage, a next evolutionary jump that I'm being invited into, the collective is being invited into, and really meeting people where they're at and acknowledging that everyone is at a different stage on the path. And everyone's going to tap into the wisdom that's available within the curriculum in a different and unique way. And this is how the 3 paths have emerged. So I want to go over them. One thing that I want to really dial in on here is why I'm also doing this live. It's because I want to, screen share and really show you things that are happening, mainly because I get a lot of messages, like far more than I really should be getting at this point, of people who sign up for other programs, other courses, and once they get inside, they are, they kind of feel like they've been ripped off, or it was not at all what they thought it would be. And it turns out to be very basic, a lot of new agey stuff, a lot of like false light information, even though it was being marketed and sold in this other way. And it's because there's not transparency in the sales process. And one thing that I'm really doing now is really finding the ways of revolutionizing how we sell, how we market, how we offer our services to the whole, because a lot of the old hierarchical ways of being just really, I'm not here for that anymore. I'm here for union and finding new paths forward. And I think one of those paths is having transparency on what you're actually joining, what you are signing up for, what the commitment looks like, what the curriculum looks like, how it's going to be presented, how you will be supported, so that you feel so clear in what you're coming into and that it's for you. And I feel like there's not a lot of transparency in a lot of courses and curriculum, because I've signed up for several programs that felt really good. I felt really aligned with the person, and I wish I would have known what was involved, because once I entered, it was very basic and I didn't really get a whole lot of value out of it. So I'm wanting to be different in this space, and I'm trusting that I don't need to manipulate anyone to come in here. I don't need to hide anything. I know the value of what is in this space. I know the support that is in it, and I also know how it can change and transform people's lives from the people that came into it previously in 2022. And I also know that if you come into this space from a place of fear, or from a place of, sympathetic dominance in your nervous system, this space can be very triggering, because we do very deep and profound work in this field. And I want people to really know that they're ready for that when they show up. And I'm going to trust that I can be fully honest with you, and you will still join if this is meant for you. So as the 13D is now, you'll see if you go to the website, ahaumna.com/13D, you will see there are 3 paths of entering into this space. And the first path is the path of remembrance. And this is what the 13D curriculum has been and will continue to be with things being added to it. This is a path that's open and available for everyone. We then have the second path, which is the path of guidance. This is a path that's open purely for women. In the path of guidance, you get everything that is in the path of remembrance. I'm going to go through all three of these paths. The final path is the path of emanation, which is also only for women. And in the path of emanation, you get everything that's in the path of guidance as well as the path of remembrance. So all three paths include the path of remembrance, the core curriculum, only we go about it differently. So that's what I want to start with is really taking you inside the path of remembrance here. And I'm going to show you on the back end because I'm going to show you everything that will come out. That being said, you're going to see it from how I see it, how I upload it and see it, as I want to show you everything that will come out over the course of a year. A lot of it will be not available immediately because there is a journey that we go through and there is live aspects, and we will go through this all together. It's not a wild self-led kind of go every which way direction and get very overwhelmed by how much is available in this space. So whilst you're going to see basically the snapshot from the 2022 curriculum, there is going to be, live aspects. These transmissions and things of that nature will come through live as they come through, and you'll have this opened up slowly for you. So when you join, you're not going to get all 13 of the virtues and of the teachings and everything within it all at once, because that is often very, there's a path, there's a purpose of why everything is organized in the way it is. So let us go into having a look and really talking about the core foundations of these transmissions, and also the ordination process, the activation process that we go through inside of the space. So remember, this is going to be my back end that I see, so it's not going to be anything special to look at right now. We're just going to be looking at the content that is available and kind of skip those important details. And you'll see immediately when you come in, there is a sequence of activations, and this is a Christic ordination rite of passage that you really come into and go through this process of catching your spirit body up to where the planet is. So these are sequences of planetary initiations on the spirit body, the Templar of the planet, that have been going on. That's been my role to speak and transmit for since the end of 2020. So you will have access to several of the ones that will allow you to kind of catch up in so many ways, energetically speaking. And those are available immediately, and you're encouraged to start going through them immediately. These Christ Star DNA Templar activations, those are now available for everyone to go through, because it is just such a profound thing when we really get into alignment with the planet. Then you'll also see we had several different sequences of activations come through, working on various different gate sites. If you click into them, you see more detail. That being said, so you get those activations immediately when you join, as well as some bonus transmissions from Alex Terrace, who guest speaks, I guess you could say, in this space. So you'll see all those bonuses. You also get access to the Venusian Golden Year journey sequence as well when you join. So those are just things that can be, people always ask, how do I prepare for this journey that we're about to go on? And I've already put that preparation together in the bonuses that you receive access to immediately when you join. Then in March, we go into Virtue 1. So the way that this curriculum is designed is it goes through 13 virtues that allow us to really be on our path of enlightenment, of awakening, of coming fully into our body, and having a pathway that is about the flowering of virtue within us. Because truly, when we come into resonance with living through virtue, we access our visionary leadership potential. And this is where this like city of the seventh gene allows us to fully flower in our service in this world. So each virtue is representing the frequency bands that we are speaking to in each dimension. So within the core curriculum of the Path of Remembrance, we have this like twofold thing that's happening. We have this practice and devotion and real live ordination that's going on, and we have a mechanical, more structural training about our multidimensional existence, going through all of the 15 dimensions. We call this space the 13th dimension because we are focused on the virtues, and there's 13 of those up to the 13th dimension. The final 2 dimensions are really that source field. So we do cover those dimensions. That being said, there are no virtues that are associated with them. The final virtue of the 13th dimension is enlightenment. So within that, we then have the first dimension of consciousness, how that's related to our root chakra, how that is then a frequency band, an energetic frequency band. That energetic frequency band has attributes and has embodiments and has ways that we show up through that frequency band. It is, in the unconscious, a lot of fear, a lot of ungroundedness. And through the first virtue, we can actually heal the karma, the patterns, the beliefs, all the tar that is stuck in our first chakra here, our first stargate of our body Templar. And the virtues then are that frequency band of the higher spectrum of that dimension of consciousness. And you'll see then like each topic is what that action is, like what that frequency is. So in virtue 1, it is taking effective action. So while we'll learn in like the training call about the first dimension and about the power of effective action and about your 15 dimensional Stargate system or chakra system in each of these keys, as well as other more foundational mechanical principles. And where I come from, we really focus on the technique, the precise mechanics, we could call it here mathematical or scientific foundations of our spirit body anatomy. And the reason that we do that is because there is a distorted coding here, right? There is distorted mathematics here. There is distorted symbology that is artificial, that is not our organic intelligence. If you haven't watched my free masterclass, it's now on YouTube. It's called Organic Intelligence. You can also find it recently on my Facebook page. It's just, that goes deep, maybe like 2.5 hours deep into really understanding this distorted coding that has been layered over our planet, many other planets and beyond for a very long time. So when we understand the actual foundational mechanics of how our Christic, how God's source is feeding reality, right? Creating reality through these systems and functions that are mathematical equations, that are sacred geometries, we can then recognize the fallen system, right? This is like the base 10 mathematics that the New Age community utilizes, which is not the Christic frequencies. So when we understand the true Christic mechanics, it makes it so much easier for us to have really profound discernment here and to know when to steer away from certain teachings and people and experiences because they are still woven into the fabric of that artificial matrix and the distorted coding that is siphoning energy from us. When energy is being siphoned from us, we are no longer plugged into that source field. We're not resourced. We struggle with health, with money, with resource, all the things. So this is why we have this, hour-long training every month that goes into really understanding these mechanics so that you can have this awakening within yourself and know and trust your inner compass moving forward. And from my experience and witnessing the people that come into this space and other spaces that I'm facilitating, it becomes very shocking how much this artificial system has infiltrated through the spiritual movements. Okay, that's all I'm going to share about that. Let's keep going into the content here. So we'll have this training every month, and then you'll see a ton of actual practices that are geared to allow you to harness the power and train with the frequency of the virtue, to allow this virtue of how do I take action? How do I show up and actually do the things that my soul is guiding me towards? So the beautiful thing about these virtues is they also allow us to tap into a higher frequency of our creation potential. So whilst this is a mystery school, like really understanding what a mystery school is, it is a space where we unlock our full potential to be the true mystic, the true creator that we are here to be. And that has some aspects of learning and growing and study within it. The majority, though, is embodiment, right? Is actually contemplation and showing up and going inwards and excavating all the parts of ourselves that are afraid to take aligned action, are afraid to show up, don't feel worthy of doing the thing, right? So we do this through our body, through a sequence that I developed called Elemental Alchemy. And so you'll see like the playlist for those journeys in a lot of these ones, because we're really working with our elemental body to open up and move through the gunk to clear. And this is one of the most like fastest and most profound ways of really moving through a lot of density in a very clear, concise manner that you feel it. You feel yourself growing lighter. You feel yourself showing up and reacting differently in the future as triggers come up. You start changing and responding and showing up differently. And that's the living proof, right? That's the end desire is to be the living proof. So you'll see this is just the first month. We also talk about a lot of health and things that will be supportive for our bodies. A lot of times when we're going through these really deep spiritual initiations, our bodies need different foundational tools. This is where my background, this body's background as a health coach, certified health coach a decade ago, as well as just a very long healing journey. And then my partner, Alex, who's been in the health and wellness field for over 25 years, he consults a lot with the various different physiological things that show up and how we can best support them. So then you'll see that was just all the practices that are really there, and they change each month. So this month has some journaling prompts and movement, physiological movements. Then there's also the activations, which are really rites of passage. They are spiritual initiations, and they're really what we call Christic ordination. And at least that's what this vehicle, this body is guided to call them, because and all of the language is actually going to be changing, because what I've found is that a lot of people will catch a term and start delivering it without it really doing anything, and being connected to a certain pulse of frequency. The ordinations that have come through this space are ones that have been working on the planetary Templar. So when you go through them in this journey, they bring you up to speed with where the planet is at currently. They are working on restoring your proper Merkabah spin, speed, and direction, which has been in reverse. They're working on restoring and reclaiming your Christic spirit body Templar, which has been previously cut off from source. They're working on cellular repair. There is beautiful work on the nervous system, which has been deeply compromised, neurological support. And you can go onto my website, in the page of remembrance, we even have live blood samples before and after these rites of passage, these ordination ceremonies. And you can see foundationally how they're also repairing your cells, healing your body, healing your blood, and activating a higher frequency within you. visually right in front of you, proven and validated through your blood. I don't know anyone else on the planet currently that can say that they are actually having foundational proof of the physiological subatomic cellular changes that are happening through their spirit-led work, because no one else has, invested in the technology to actually do that. And that's one piece that I'm here to bridge, is helping people to see that what we're doing, whilst it is spiritual, spirit is all there is. It is the normal way of being. It is what everything is spirit. Everything that we do, even when we're doing it unconsciously, is spiritual, because that is all that there is. And bringing in the resources and the tools and the technologies to help to bridge that connection for people that are still seeing spirituality as this separate path, right? That people can choose. Like, everyone is actually on the spiritual path. And there are different frequency bands that you are on in that spiritual path. So that's really big, is to help people to see, and for you to understand that when you're coming into this world of working with myself and the supportive people that I bring into these spaces, we are not just airy fairy fluffy on the surface. Like, we are going deep. We are investing a lot of our own personal resources and funds in validating and proving to the masses what the power of these rites of passage, of soul integration and embodiment is really all about. And my goal is to be able to do more of this work to help, show people tangibly in their blood, in their bioscans, in the heat maps of their body, through various different photography abilities with infrared cameras, things like that, that what we're sharing, our services here that are more spiritual, are actually deeply, deeply, deeply grounded physiological fundamental shifts that are happening that you could very well call a science. So you'll see activations every month as well, and there will be these previous ones that have already come through, and you'll also be tapping into any new planetary or lone harmonic, which is your individuation activations that come through from myself as the speaker here for indefinitely. Once you join the space, you get access to the planetary activations that come through 5-10 years into the future. So our second virtue here, we move into the second dimension. We move into the virtue of purity, of love. This is a month that we do some cleansing, some physiological cleansing. We're changing up the cleanse that we're going to be doing. We did Quicksilver last year. There's going to be a different cleanse that we're going to be going in to do, and really purifying our body, purifying our mind, purifying our heart, purifying our spirit, tapping into that crystalline vision. You'll see we're working with different alchemy, different elemental alchemy, which is different movements, different practices, different breath sequences. And then we have an integration period that we're doing because we do some cleansing. The months are different this year. We're starting this program in March this year instead of January, because we had some rollover from 2022. So just know that the timeline of the dates that you're seeing are not going to be the same timeline of when we're beginning this now, which is March 1st. So we have virtue 3 moving into integrity, and you'll see again how much content is within these spaces that will be shared with you. We have, the transmissions that are coming through. We have also chaos material that we're doing like a study group style to really help people enter into some of this material that is no longer being really led in any way, just allowing you to have a space to study and ask questions and get support in that. So we have, virtue 3 is connected to the solar plexus. You'll see there's several different solar plexus integration pieces here to align with that virtue. Then we go into virtue 4, which is our eternal nature. There's a lot of meditation that comes through virtue 4 because it is about residing in that eternal bliss, that eternal field where we are in that unified wholeness, right? It is the heart chakra, it is that connection. So it's really about a lot of clearing of, the synoptic transpositioning healing ceremony, which will actually come through live for us once we're in this. Several of these things will come through live. Some of them will be automatically uploaded. A lot of them will come through live still for you. yeah, it's just really this space of clearing our hearts of the walls that we put up, and really connecting into our astral body, which is also related to what we would call density to body. And that you'll learn all about in the trainings each month. So virtue five is about community, camaraderie, and we are doing some heart shield activations in this, lotus seal activations. This is a really powerful activation sequence in this. You're a sun flame activation. This is also a really great one for helping us to like open up our voice, speak powerfully, speak confidently, speak our truth, feel more confident in like just loving our own voice. And so there's a lot of vocal stuff happening in this practices this month in Virtue 5 to really be able to express ourselves clearly to our community, to our people who we're here to serve, as well as our loved ones and everyone around us. Virtue 6 is about prosperity. So in this one, we do a lot of practices to help us expand our vision. You see peripheral vision expansion because it's also related to your sixth chakra, opening up your inner eye. We're going to be playing with some new practices coming in with this one. I'm very excited about, since I've activated a higher frequency band of the pineal gland of this body, which has showed me some new fun practices to add in that I'm super stoked to share with everyone. You'll feel my excitement about it. But it's also about prosperity. And so we have a lot of conversations about, our wealth stewardship and if we are truly valuing living in prosperity and how to cultivate more prosperity through our services in this world. We go into communication. All the practices for this month are actually written in this one document here because they are going through previous sequences and previous activations to really activate this crown chakra. That's why you're seeing a little bit less, because they're all written down step by step there. And let's go through to Virtue 8, Power. So you'll see this was August of last year when we reclaimed the moon. So you'll get access to that activation as well as anything new coming through. And Power, man, this is a really big one. Like, this is how we are in our commitments. We really excavated how we show up in this world and where we're out of integrity with how we want to be showing up and connecting with this world. This eighth chakra monadic plane connection meditation is just so profound. A lot of the feedback that has come through that this is maybe one of their most favorite practices to go into, because it really is allowing us to tap into the most sacred parts of ourselves and feeling that power come back into our body. Like, this month is all about really contemplating what is true power. Where have we been giving our power away? What have we been committing to that is not in authentic integrity with our true power and being resourced? Virtue 9 is about partnership and connection. So the practices in this month that come through here, and we also have some that come through in a Telegram group that are live in the moment, is really about building powerful partnerships, powerful relationships, and connection with others. So this is really great if you are in a partnership with a business partner or a lover, or you want to attract someone into your life that is an aligned partner. It teaches you the embodiment of how do we show up in conflict, how do we move through these different practices and connection within each other to form beautiful unified bonds that allow us to grow and are no longer linked into, codependency and a lot of trauma bonds that are the vast majority of how people are connecting. So month 9, as you'll see, these themes start to look at, sure, they are like, this is why the virtues are so beautiful, is because they do bridge this field of like everything is spirit, all these different areas of your life that are going to be improved upon through this deeper inner growth. They're all spirit, right? It's all spirit. It all comes back to that. And your life and all these things outside that we invest our space and time in, like, if we just really go inwards, come into resonance within, come into excavate out the fears and the traumas and the pains and the karmas from within, then the flowering and the external will just naturally happen without us needing to force it. Intimacy is virtue 10 into UIC. And this is such a beautiful, when we go into the dot matrix, we clear all just so many powerful things about bringing ourselves into balance, into harmony, clearing out at a higher density 4. This is introduction to density 4. I'm not going to go into like a density transmission right now because that's what this is for. That being said, each density is 3 dimensions of consciousness, 3 different frequency bands. Okay, let's go. Passion. This was December 2022 when we fully brought online the Luxor Pyramid complex in Las Vegas. Cleared that, has been pulsing all these really crazy Nibiru hijacked frequencies. This is really when we start tapping into that Buddhic Christic consciousness here as well, and density 4. So that's going to be a lot of the themes. And you'll see very important movement sequences. Like, so much of this is how do we properly run energy through our body, and that is through a lot of different movements. A lot of times people will come into the spaces and they will have had traumatic experiences with their spiritual gift, with, you know, their clairaudience, their clairvoyance, or just the intensity that can be felt when we're running a lot of energy through these very tiny bodies that used to be so much larger when we ran the amount of energy that we used to run. So really learning how to optimize how we run energy through our bodies so that we are having no ascension symptoms, right? All these things that people say, like, oh, they're being negatively influenced by the moon and by the frequencies coming in, like those are all signs that your body is not running the energy efficiently through its system. And once you start running energy efficiently through the system, you get to a point where you become very comfortable with what you have access to. That was previously quite frightening when your nervous system was not running the frequency properly. Virtue 12, freedom. So this is a really beautiful one. There's a lot of sound in this space because you start to tap into more of the sound domains. I love reading the practices for this. And freedom, and the freedom transmission, this is really like the core of why we're here, to become truly free. What does it mean to be free? Where are the areas in our lives that we are not, where we're still giving away power, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing that I want to mention is that each of the dimensions of consciousness is also linked to a strand of DNA. So there's pieces of those transmissions around, you know, your biological experience through your DNA. The final virtue here is the virtue of enlightenment. And this is a much longer one because we are actually going through and really contemplating the path that we have walked over those past 11 months or 12 months through all the virtues here. Let's see, I'm just going to cruise through other aspects that we have. We also have quarterly meet and greets. Every couple months we have a meet and greet, and this is when we get together, not to learn, not to practice, to just connect, to just share where we're at, to just, and not get like advice, to just be human together. We are choosing to come together for a very interesting, energetic experience. And the people that show up are usually soul family, like really deep soul family. So we have these experiences where we come together and we just be human, we connect, we love, we grow, we share where we're going and what we would like support. And then you have transmissions from Alex that is basically during the process, you'll have the option, if you choose, you don't have to go into deeper study material through the Kalantic science system, that you'll be guided like, hey, you know, if you want to go through these workshops, and then there'll be a training that will have Alex kind of talking about making sense of it. He's been studying that material for lifetimes, in this life over 20 years. So that is what's happening here in this space. So I'm going to stop sharing this now that we've gone through what's the curriculum there, and say to that, the additional things that we have is we have the Telegram support group. So inside that Telegram support group, we are adding a new feature, which is a monthly Q&A session where if you were in 7 with me, we did those inside 7, which I really loved. So I'm adding them to this curriculum now as well, where there's a Q&A session, it's all voice notes. And the other thing that I also want to share is there's a lot of deep personalized support that happens as things come up. And this is the invitation for anyone who's feeling aligned with this space, is to show up fully and to not be afraid to ask any questions. And if you are afraid to ask questions or get that support, then vocalize that, because there is a deep depth that we can reach together through full transparency with each other. And of course, the virtue path will help to open that up for you and through you. That being said, like, I love to be your supportive ally. Like, it absolutely is the reason I'm here, on top of the ordination process of the Planetary Templar. That being said, the actual service here with each other is where I love to play, and it is never a inconvenience for me to support anyone. So that's the first path now, the path of remembrance. It is how this curriculum has evolved, and we'll continue to add new things that come through based on where we're at. And that's what's beautiful about a living library of content and creation. So in the path of remembrance, remember, this is available for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, male, female, whatever, all the other terminologies that we have today. And it doesn't matter, it's for everyone, because this content is for everyone. It's a growing, evolving space. The second path is the path of guidance. And this is actually going to be the first one that is just for women. So in this path, you get everything that we just covered, only it's all available at once for you. So where in the path of remembrance, we'll really be going through the content together month by month. In the path of remembrance, all of the content is all available, and we really are about tapping into your soul leading. So where you're at on your evolutionary journey may be very different from someone else. And so we allow that space to be more of a master heart, where we come together, we collaborate, we connect, and we go through the material in a different way, because the focus is really on becoming an ordained Christic priestess, which is a certification to initiate rites of passages on the planet. And this is really about building this is not about, like, we have these languaging and these terminology things, but it's not about like these labels. It doesn't make anyone better than another. Everyone can do this, can build these connections. This first year of offering this, it feels really, really yummy and expansive for where I want to grow, to have the space be for just women. Will that change in the future? It very well may. That being said, these ordination processes and these rites of passage is really about building that connection within to the higher Rishi avatar identities, and like bringing through your gifts and bringing through like more transmission, more code, more activation, and being able to facilitate really deep, profound upgrades for humanity as a service that you get to share in this world and hopefully be generously compensated for, because this is the most prized and valuable work on the planet at this time. It heals, it awakens, it evolves. That's all the things we need. So that is going to have two more like master hearts, mastermind, right? We call it a master heart in our world, because we are working through that heart space, visionary sessions a month that are going to be in addition to everything that you're already getting in the path of remembrance, to really do this deeper inner practice and soul-led training to feel powerful, confident in tapping into your inner gifts and to delivering and sharing transformational experiences for others. So that is a path of guidance. There is now 14 spaces left. We had a woman jump in immediately yesterday, super excited. So that is going to be a small group as well, because there will be opportunity to do like, just have more intimate support and guidance, since we are going to be really dropping into a new service in the world that potentially uplifts a lot of people. So smaller, intimate space, so that there's more high touch experiences. I don't like to have programs with thousands of people in them, or even hundreds of people in them personally, because we lose that connection and we lose that union that is available when we have small, intimate spaces. So small, intimate spaces is where I thrive, because I want you to feel deeply supported and held personally, even if it's in a group space, by my heart and by my presence. So the final path, and this path includes the previous two paths, is the path of emanation. And this is the full flowering of my one-on-one work. So this is a one-on-one year-long journey with myself that we get to curate ourselves. It is a bespoke experience, which means it is created just for you. So we will align with how that looks. It can include coming to the land and having in-person immersions with me. You know, I have incredible healing technologies at my home space, just amazing things that we get to do also on the grids of what that land is and represents. And then whether we want to have calls like this or voice notes, it gets to be free. It gets to be something that you choose. And it's for women who are already living anchored in their dharma. They are already bringing through something original, something unique into the collective. And they value being supported and held in intimate space. That's why they show up, right? Not because they need it. They know they don't need it. They've reached that success already. They desire it. They love it. They value it. So they want to be supported then in a space with someone like myself that is a frequency match for where they are growing and the codes that they want to tap into, that when it's really the multiplier effect, when we come together with others, we get to multiply our energies and get to tap into frequency potentials that we don't necessarily have access to when we are just in our lone harmonic doing that work, which is why all of the planetary activations, friends, one person doesn't do them, right? I do not just speak through these planetary activations and run them all through just my body. There is a team of people. That team exists in the 13D. So when you come in, you'll also be connecting with last year's members who are still on the planetary mission with us and still going to be running these activations as well, because it is a team effort. And when we come together, we amplify what is possible. That one-on-one space, there's just 5 open, and that is for an entire year of being held and supported and getting to play together and co-create together and experience what's possible when our frequencies unite. And this is a higher price point because it is working with me one-on-one. So it is really for women who are at that space where they're ready for that and they already value that level of support. So that's really the overview of what's happening. Most of the people will come through that path of remembrance, the path of guidance. And if you are someone who wants to really go deep in being held and supported in my fields for a year, then that path of emanation would be what you want to explore. So I hope that this was helpful. I want to see here if there's any questions that have come through. Sometimes I also can't see them necessarily in the Facebook. It's not showing any right now. So we'll just press that. It does show that we've been live for 44 minutes though. So that feels like it is time to complete. I have put the links to where you can go learn more about these 3 paths and see those blood images and different things like that in the comments. And I'm also here in Messenger. You can send me a message. Also, when you go to the live sites, ahaumna.com, that chat bubble sends messages directly to my phone. So you can directly message me through that if you are watching this on YouTube or some way like that. Like, just directly message me through the website. It's not a bot. It goes directly to me, to this smartphone, and I personally respond, because that is the intimacy that I want to create with us all. So don't feel like you're going to just get a bot response or something like that. That is, I am doing those messages. So I'm here for you to support you. The path of remembrance, the path of guidance begins March 1st. The path of emanation begins whenever you're ready. So it could be today if you were a yes to that and wanted to get started. Sending you all so much love. I'm going to just give you a little bit of this ocean medicine here before we hop off. This is what's been nourishing and nurturing and flourishing this transmission. I will be heading back to the portal that is our land. tomorrow. So sending you all so much love, and I am just welcoming you all in. I cannot wait to be in this experience and to hold you in this space. Like, the 13D is my most cherished and prized intimate space that I get to serve you through in this life. So it is a privilege and it is an honor. And if this is for you, reach out. Bye, friends.